Hey y'all, this is Haylin Danielle, and I want to thank you for joining me for today's video, which is on the topic of dealing with your crap. First thing I want to say is that dealing with your crap comes in layers and waves. So from personal experience, I learned this. Also, I learned it from the experience of other people. If you do decide that you are going to dive in and you're going to deal with your baggage so that you're not carrying it long in your life from relationship to relationship, whether it be romantic, familial, work, whatever, then you can dive in, you can deal with something that's been pushed down in you for a long time, and you bring it up. Maybe you bring in reinforcements and you have a circle of people around you. Maybe you bring in a professional counselor or therapist or coach or whatever, and you deal with it. And then you think, wow, that was amazing. I feel so much lighter and so much freer. Okay, I'm going to move on. And you move on with life. It could be a couple years down the road or whatever, this stuff comes back up. And it could be some outside event or situation that triggered it, or it could just be something going on inside, and then all of a sudden you have this wave of new emotions or old emotions from this thing that you thought you dealt with. What I have learned is that for the stuff that we have kept down in us for a long time, the stuff that has held us bound, kept us from being our best selves and moving on in life, comes in layers and waves, because we cannot handle all of it at one time. And so you dive in and you deal with something, but what a lot of us don't realize when we're going through that is that we're only dealing with one layer at a time, because that is all we can handle. So we think we've dealt with all of it, but then later in life, our mind lets us know, hey, there's more to this. And now you have grown enough to where you can handle the next layer. So all this wave of stuff that's hitting you all of a sudden, you think, oh my goodness, I can't handle this. What's going on? I don't know. Relax. It just means that you grew and you're at a healthier place and you can handle more and you're stronger. So now you can deal with layer number 2 and you can unpack that. Now, it's different for everybody. It's different for different topics or areas in your life. So some areas or some topics may have 2 layers. Maybe some will have 1. Some might have 8. So we don't really know how deep that rabbit hole goes until we've gone through the layers and it's many years down the road and it's not coming back up. So it could be many, many layers that you have to go through on one topic, but just be okay with that as much as you possibly can, because it means that you are growing and you are moving forward. So even knowing that that's going to happen, just dive in and deal with it anyway. Just do it. Make courage a regular way of your life. And that will set you apart from a lot of people, because it's so much easier for us not to deal with our stuff and just try to navigate around it instead of pull it all out like spring cleaning. Pull it all out, deal with it, toss some stuff out and say, you know what, I'm done. That was a long time ago when I used that, when I wore that shirt or whatever. Like, I don't need it anymore. It doesn't fit me. Like, I need to let go of that. Toss some stuff out, then you reorganize and you put it back so that you can live a less cluttered life or more organized life. So that's what it is. It's spring cleaning. It's getting the stuff out. Be okay with that process. Next thing I want to mention is grieving. So if you come across a situation where you lose a person or a possession or some form of security, etc., deal with that fully. Grieve it fully. So it may be you just need to cry for 3 hours in one day. And then before you go to bed, you may have to cry for another hour. You may have to do this 4 days a week for 6 weeks. Do what you have to do to find the healthiest possible way to fully grieve it. Get it all out so it's not packed down into your soul, packed down into your subconscious to where it can come up and it can haunt you later, or it can dictate the choices that you make. So you're making unhealthy, emotions-based decisions when you should be making decisions based off wisdom, discernment, or information. So it's important to go ahead and deal with them, but be careful. Make sure they're healthy ways that you deal with them, because some of the ways that we have a lot of different methods that we can choose to deal with grief, or to grieve something out of our system. But it could be stuff that only packs more drama into our lives, more anxiety, more worry, more fear, more pain, more regret. Don't choose those, because it's just circular. It's not going to get you any further down the road. It's going to keep you going in the same circle. It may even get you to the point where it's like, okay, the doctor's saying you need this prescription and this prescription and this prescription. What those do, typically, especially if it's for the brain and emotions, it's a mood stabilizer, it's an antidepressant. What they end up doing, because I was on that stuff, like I know, is it keeps you in this circle of bad thinking, really. So the best thing is to learn how to deal with life as it comes, learn how to deal with it healthily. Another thing I want to mention, and this one is a hard one, get honest with yourself. It's so easy to blame outside things, to blame other people for what is not working in your life, to blame your job, you're not getting enough money. Which, I mean, that's a thing. You may not be getting paid enough, and you may be making the cuts in your budget where you can, but you're just not paid enough. You're a very good worker, whatever, had good experience, but they're taking advantage of you. It could be, but at the same time, if that's the situation, you're choosing to stay in that job and not seek out something that's better for you. So, again, instead of it going back to your place of employment, it's like, hey, if you're making the decision to stay there, you're making the decision to have this stuff in your life that you don't like, that you think isn't fair, or you think needs to be better. So take an honest assessment of yourself. In what ways are you causing yourself anxiety? In what ways are you causing your own fear? In what ways are you holding yourself back? And when you get to that, you face it, you develop a plan of action, you marry yourself to that plan of action, and then you go through that process until it's over and you have healing for that situation or for that layer. And you go through it all the way. You don't quit. You just fight. You fight. You fight. You put the professionals in your life if you need to be able to get through that. But you don't quit when it gets hard, because it will get hard. You quit when you're finished with it. And guess what? It's just going to be super hard. You're not always going to feel like fighting, but you fight anyway. But you do it anyway. Don't sacrifice your long-term freedom and mental health for your feelings right now. You keep going, you keep pushing yourself. Not because you're mistreating yourself or you hate yourself or you're trying to self-harm by pushing yourself so hard, but you push yourself because you recognize that you only have one life to live. We only get one. And it's our responsibility to be the best steward of this life that we possibly can. It's our responsibility to not waste our days. It's our responsibility to make sure that we're healthy, whole, and pure, and then take what we have and be able to help others with it. When we get to a healthy point in life, we keep going towards a healthier and healthier life. But we also look back behind us and see the people who are struggling, see the people who can't fight for themselves. They're not strong enough. They're too confused to be able to fight for themselves. And we say, you know what? I can pour into this person now. I can help them. Make sure you have your boundaries in place. Make sure you're strong yourself. Make sure you are rejuvenating and resting when you need to. But don't forget about the other people. Don't think, well, they haven't gotten as far along as I have. I pulled up my big girl pants or big boy pants, and I got after it. And they didn't do that, so that's their own problem. Don't be like that. Don't be like that, because we all had meager beginnings. Never despise them. Look at the people behind you and say, you know what, I can help somebody. You can't help everybody. There are needs everywhere. There's hurt and pain everywhere. You can't help everyone. But it's like the story of the boy on the beach with all the starfish washed up on shore. And he's looking at thousands upon thousands of starfish that are going to die because the tide isn't coming up to be able to wash them back into the water. So he starts throwing back one at a time, back into the water so they can live. Guy comes along, says, what's the point? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? You can't save them all. Like, it's impossible. So you might as well not even try. Boy picks up one, throws it back in the water, says to man, I saved that one. So have that mentality. So the last thing I want to say is see your value and care about yourself. You are here to steward this life, care about it, protect it, love yourself, because you are worth it. But you got to see your own worth. Like, people tried to tell me what my worth was. Like, I didn't get it. And I'm a pessimist anyhow, especially when it comes to myself. Like, I err on the side of, we don't need to go through all those thoughts of the way that I can be a little, as people tell me, I can be a little too hard on myself. I don't know. I think I'm too soft on myself sometimes, but whatever. Everybody else seems to think I'm too hard on myself. We don't need to go into that. But I see my value more and more. I see how I'm becoming the type of person that I want to be. So I spent my life, I didn't talk much to people, but I spent my life observing people and seeing characteristics and traits in people that I did want in my life and that I didn't want in my life. So the ones that I did want in my life, I started at a young age trying to develop those character traits in myself. And so now, not that I'm perfect, there's still things about myself that I'm like, yeah, that could use some improvement, absolutely. But I'm becoming more and more a person that I look up to and I respect. So go for that. Try to become a person that you respect, that you think is actually doing really good in the world. Don't let your crap get in your own way. But also, don't let your crap get in the way of anyone else. Because it's yours, you own it, you recognize it's there, you deal with it, and you say, you know what, I'm not going to let this be a place of prison for me or for anyone else. I'm going to take a stand, and I'm going to deal with it. Now, if you have any stories that you want to share of how you've dealt with your crap and you've let go of that baggage, I welcome you to put it in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you join me for the next video. Have a great day.